Now, back to Soros, Walls and Soros. And the reaction is, oh, my word, Walls and Soros, that's a bad situation. That always makes me look up Soros again. I've always been trying to get a handle on the guy.
What makes him tick, you mean?
So today I Googled, what good has George Soros done for the world? And what comes up is his Open Society philanthropic organization, which gets praise and glowing reviews for how much he's donated and how he's against drug regulations. And I began to pick up a theme that I think the bee in his bonnet is that he doesn't want anybody telling anybody else what to do. That to me is the only thing I can boil it down to. He doesn't like authority.
Yeah.
And so therefore you get the spin-off of that would be, let me put some district attorneys in there that aren't going to tell people how to behave. Drugs should be legal. If there's a bee in his bonnet and that could be because of this horrible upbringing he had and survival that he went through. And that's my guess.
Okay.
Authority rubs him the wrong way. So you got a group that's thumbing its nose at authority or posturing itself to be opposed to patriarchy or anything else that would smack of authority. He's going to hand you a few bucks.
Okay.
All right? So there's Walls meeting with the kid, Alex. Alex might be a chip off the old block. I have no idea.
He is.
Yeah,
he's taken over.
100%.
Okay,
Yeah,
and they're meeting in this gorgeous,
Sprawling.
wherever the hell Alex lives.
Isn't it downtown New York?
Well, it's New York, but it's just, you don't even see the house. You just know it's gorgeous from the windows that they're standing
Because they're
in front
about
of.
60 stories
Oh,
in
my
the air.
God,
Yeah.
yes. And so I don't know what Walls was Walls being courted by Soros or was Soros being courted by Walls. I have no idea.
I would call it plotting.
Yeah, but the other thing that struck me is just how cavalierly Walls has grown comfortable with completely ignoring the fact that he's the governor of Minnesota. Just give me my paycheck. I'm your governor, but I'm not there. I'm not doing a damn thing. We seem to be surviving that just fine, by the way. We seem to be surviving his absence as governor, but he's not acting as governor at all. You'll remember Paul Gazelka ran for governor and resigned his Senate seat in order to do so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Walls apparently does not have to resign, so therefore won't, because he's been at the public trough all his life. He's not got to cut off one of the spigots just because he's running for vice president.
I got to defend him. On September 18th, Joe, he did tweet out a photo that says, "Fresh haircut and meeting with my cabinet makes for a pretty darn good day." And in the background is his cabinet here in the great state of Minnesota. And someone
Were they all white people?
and someone retweeted it and said, "Look at all that diversity."
Yeah, it's a lot of diversity.
So did he buy basically controlling interest through the back door of CBS Radio?
Yes, now let's get to what George Soros has most recently done. The Federal Communications Commission seemingly approved a deal that would fast-track George Soros acquiring more than 200 Odyssey radio stations across America, irking a Republican commissioner who objected. The New York Post first reported the FCC last week adopted an order to approve Soros's purchase of more than 200 radio stations in 40 markets just weeks before the election, potentially allowing the far-left kingmaker to reach more than 165 million Americans at a critical time. The FCC decision came after a partisan vote, with the commission's 3 Democrats voting for the move, while the 2 Republicans on the commission, just a minute, please, while the 2 Republicans voted against it. Under existing FCC rules, foreign company ownership of U.S. radio stations is not supposed to exceed 25%. Soros took foreign investment to make his bid and then made a filing asking the commission to make an exception to the usual review process according to public documents. The FCC decision to fast-track his deal is the first time in modern history such a deal has been approved by the full commission without first running the national security review process, a process that could take up to a year or more. The Soros Group told the Post they would circle back to the FCC in the near future to run that process. If the deal goes through, though, Soros would be considered a major shareholder, but not necessarily the owner of the stations.
Right.
An FCC spokesman told Fox News Digital that no decision is final until the commission releases it, which we have not. The commission has a long-standing process for reviewing transactions that involve emergence from bankruptcy, the spokesman added, noting that the application before the commission pertains to a transfer from Odyssey to bankruptcy to Odyssey post-bankruptcy.
Yeah, he bought their debt, $400 million worth.
Some inside the FCC object to the notion the move was some sort of shortcut or fast track for Soros, pointing to a similar process used to under the previous administration in the bankruptcy proceedings of Cumulus Media in 2018, iHeartMedia in 2019, Liberman Television in 2019, Fusion Connect in 2019, Windstream Holdings in 2020, American TV Station Group in 2021, and Alpha Media in 2021. In other words, no media company's doing very well.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Did you see who's on some of these CBS stations, though?
No, isn't it CCO on Odyssey Station?
Yes. Correct, but I believe Hannity is on one.
Well, does George think he can shut up Hannity?
Well, that's the big question here. What's going to change? How is he going to use his influence and his ownership of this to change what they're doing?
Wouldn't this just essentially mean that they can just buy up a lot of the inventory rates, meaning the advertisement on pennies on the dollar?
You're out of my pay grade now, my friend. I don't know.
I'm sorry, because that's what Bloomberg did. Remember, Bloomberg bought an absolute S-load of advertising years ago.
The head of the FCC is the Trump-nominated commissioner, Nathan Symington.
Yeah, so explain him.
Well, he's one of the two that voted against it.
Okay, he was.
Because he said this indeed has been fast-tracked. The FCC has a practice of permitting entities temporarily to exceed foreign ownership. Isn't Soros an American citizen? I believe he is. But apparently what he did is use foreign assets to make this deal. So maybe that makes him foreign ownership, but they're denying ownership and just calling him major shareholder. The point being that Soros has figured out a way, it sounds like, to involve himself with 200 radio stations in major markets.
Why? Go ahead.
Well, what do you think the reason would be?
Well, obviously, with the dark thoughts I have,
sure.
It's controlling the narrative.
Right. The Soros-backed group is looking to buy the second largest radio station group in the country. Some of them are in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Florida. The vast majority are probably music or sports, but there are a handful in those states that carry conservative talk radio. There is a concern. This is somebody named Carr. Who am I talking about? There is a concern the FCC should not be creating this special Soros shortcut. Soros handed control of his political empire last year to his son, Alex, with whom Walls was just pictured.
Right.
And his various organizations have continued to exert significant financial influence, including millions of dollars aimed at flipping Texas to the Democrats. Okay. Well, I guess Soros can do whatever he wants, but what I find fascinating about this is that Walls it certainly appears to be eager to be in the good graces of the Soros people. And the Soros people, if my amateur examination of them is correct, he's a hard ass who just doesn't like to be told what to do.
Right.
Don't you dare tell me what he's a rebel.
Here's why I think we might be fanning the flames of conspiracy. This money didn't come out of his own pocket. It came from the Soros Fund. That's a money management firm. They're in the business of making money. So they can't throw good dollars after advertising, like Chris said, and lose money just to push Democrats. They can't lose money. They're in the business of making money for their stakeholders.
You wouldn't think Soros would purposely be involved in something that's losing money.
Okay.
Right. They're in the business of getting richer.
But he made his fortune shortchanging people. When things were at a low, he was buying. So here's radio stations at a low, and he's buying.
And he can then turn around and sell all of those advertising times, right, to whatever special interest that he might have in mind, thus recouping some of that. And then ultimately,
but
when the election is over with and they're seeing a profit being turned, he can spin these stations.
See, we should have somebody from upstairs helping us with this.
No, because that'll reveal how dumb we are.
Right.
She already knows. He can't sell these at a loss. He can't shut them down. He has to hold on to them until they become profitable. Then he can sell them. That's $400 million.
He has to survive through their post-bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And then presumably he could sell them.
Right.
Right.
Right. So wouldn't it be equivalent in my dumb mind to rehabbing a house? You buy a piece of crap, you put a bunch of work into it, you up its equity, let it go. You just made $100K. Mm-hmm. Isn't that basically what he's doing here?
Well, I think the one thing we can all agree on is that obviously he's not an idiot.
Right.
So whatever machinations are taking place, he's going to stand to benefit.
He isn't an idiot, but I always have questioned his intentions.
Well, his intentions are to disrupt authority. That's my amateur take on it. He comes up all the time. The people on the right say he's beholden to the left. All I can come up with is the bee in his bonnet is authority. He doesn't like it. He wants to undo it.
Well, he and I are the